Napoleon Bonaparte is one of the most iconic figures in history. Born on the island of Corsica in 1769. He was the second of 8 children in a family of minor nobility. From a young age, Napoleon displayed remarkable intelligence and ambition. He was sent to military school in France at the age of 9, where he quickly distinguished himself as a gifted student. His rise to power during the French Revolution was nothing short of meteoric. In 1799, he seized control of the French government in a coup d'état, and established himself as the first consul of the French Republic. He quickly set about consolidating his power, and by 1804, he crowned himself Emperor of the French, an event that changed the course of European history. Napoleon's military campaigns are legendary. He led a series of brilliant military campaigns, conquering much of Europe and spreading the ideals of the French Revolution across the continent. He defeated the Austrians at the Battle of Austerlitz in 1805, the Prussians at the Battle of Jena Auerstedt in 1806, and the Russians at the Battle of Friedland in 1807. He is considered one of the greatest military strategists and tacticians in history. But Napoleon was not just a military leader. He was also a great reformer. He abolished feudalism and the privileges of the nobility, established a new legal code, and created a centralized system of government. He also implemented several educational and public works projects, aimed at improving the lives of ordinary French citizens. One of his most notable reforms was the Napoleonic Code, also known as the French Civil Code, which was adopted in 1804. This code is still in use today in many countries, and it has been influential in the development of civil law around the world. He also introduced the metric system, which is still in use today, and set up state-controlled public education, which helped to spread literacy throughout the country. Despite his many successes, Napoleon's reign was not to last. In 1812, he invaded Russia, a disastrous campaign that ultimately led to the destruction of his Grand Army. This was followed by a series of defeats at the hands of the British and their allies. And in 1814, Napoleon was forced to abdicate and exiled to the island of Elba. But Napoleon's story was not over yet. In 1815, he escaped from Elba and returned to France, raising an army and marching on Paris. He was defeated at the Battle of Waterloo, and exiled once more, this time to the remote island of St. Helena in the South Atlantic. He died there in 1821, at the age of 51. Napoleon's legacy is a complex one. On one hand, he was responsible for some of the greatest military victories in history, and his reforms brought about significant improvements to French society. On the other hand, his ambition and thirst for power ultimately led to the deaths of countless thousands, and the devastation of much of Europe. In a nutshell, Napoleon Bonaparte was a man of many contradictions. He was a military genius, a visionary reformer, and a ruthless dictator. His life was a roller coaster of victories and defeats, triumphs and tragedies. And his legacy continues to be debated to this day. One of the most notable aspects of Napoleon's rule was his impact on European politics. He sought to create a European-wide empire, with France at its head. And he almost succeeded in doing so. He reorganized many of the territories that he conquered, creating new countries and changing the borders of existing ones. He also established several satellite states that were loyal to France, and helped to spread French culture and ideas across Europe. In addition to his political and military achievements, Napoleon also had a significant impact on art and culture. He was a patron of the arts, and he encouraged the development of French art and literature during his reign. He also commissioned many public works, such as the Arc de Triomphe in Paris, which still stands as a symbol of French national pride. He also fostered French literature and supported many famous French writers of his time, such as Chateaubriand, Madame de Staël, and many others. Despite his many accomplishments, Napoleon's downfall was caused by his ambition and overconfidence. He made several strategic mistakes, such as invading Russia in 1812, which led to the destruction of his Grand Army. He also underestimated the strength of his enemies, particularly the British, and was eventually defeated at the Battle of Waterloo in 1815. He was exiled to the remote island of St. Helena, where he died in 1821. In conclusion, Napoleon Bonaparte is one of the most fascinating figures in history. His impact on European politics, art, and culture, and military strategy is still felt today. He was both a brilliant military leader and a visionary reformer who brought about significant changes to French society. He was also a ruthless dictator who was willing to do whatever it took to achieve his goals, and his ambition ultimately led to his downfall. But despite his mistakes, his legacy continues to be debated and studied to this day. His life and deeds will always be remembered as one of the most complex and intriguing in human history. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more.